Hey guys, before we get started on today's video, I wanted to give you a quick channel update. I haven't had a video go up in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and I wanted to let you know it's not because I'm not working on awesome YouTube videos for the channel. I am. In fact, I'm working on a whole series of videos that's going to come along with some supplementary material that you guys are going to be able to put to use to make your own World of Warships experience better. So if that kind of stuff sounds exciting to you, then make sure you stay subscribed to get your notifications turned on so that you'll be alerted when that goes live. I'm also working on a deep dive video for that series that's about the economic and visual separation of things like economic signals, camouflages, and of course the bonuses associated with those. There's been a hot topic in the World of Warships community of late, and I'm going to make sure that I break down all the details like I normally do. So please watch for that one as well. In today's video, we are going to do a discussion of gunboat destroyers. This happened on my Saturday stream. I had a user, the Addicted One, so thank you, Addicted One, who asked, what are your top 3 favorite gunboats? And I love gunboats. I wasn't able to pick just 3, but we did wind up talking about all of the gunboat destroyers that I have in my port and maybe a few others from tier 5 to tier 10. And I think it was an interesting discussion. So I'm going to post it here for you guys and hopefully you get a kick out of it. Share it with your friends, tell your clans about it. If you're not already subscribed, why don't you hit the subscribe button? We'd love to have you come back and watch videos with us. And of course, come visit us at twitch.tv/ClydePlaysLive. We do this, that streaming thing 3 times a week. Thanks guys. And without further ado, let's get into today's discussion. Thanks. Oh, GG, these guys. I'm not going to sit here and watch that one. Let's talk about gunboat destroyers. Let's talk about like 5s and up. Tier 5, my favorite gunboat is there's 4 that I like here. I like Hill a lot, actually. I didn't think I would like Hill that much. I didn't think Hill was that great. I thought it was okay. It's very reminiscent of the Nicholas, but it's a premium. You can get it for like 13 bucks or something. Hill is really strong and it's really fun. And if you like gunboat USDD play, if you like Fletcher, if you like gearing, if you liked Mahan, or what's the tier 7? Is tier 7 Mahan? What's the tier 6? But the DPM on Hill is really, really great. It's got a 4.8 second reload with 5 barrels. The Nicholas has a 4-second reload with 4 barrels. I can't remember exactly how the math works out. I want to say that Hill comes out on top though, but maybe that's not true. Yeah, Benson's 8. Then it's Mahan at 7. What's the 6? Farragut. It kind of reminds me of like Farragut and stuff like that. Anyway, Hill's fun. I like Hill a lot. It's a hoot. Gremiashi is really great, but no longer available. So this is a tricky boat to get your hands on. I don't know if you can get this one out of a super container. Some boats are available in super containers, but those are like, it's like a 1% chance or a 0.5% chance. Gremmy's really good. It's got 430 millimeter guns that reload in 5 seconds. That concealment is 6.1 kilometers. Hey, we won. Out of the way. Go away. And her, I'm sorry, 6.8, but then you put a captain on there. That's not the right captain. Goes to 6.1. Just trust me. Why are you on here? Send to reserve. That is not your job. This one. Yeah, this one has been unobtainable forever. It was even unobtainable for me. And I eventually got it out of a Christmas container because by the time I wanted this boat, it was not available for sale and I had to get it out of Santa boxes. Ohotnik is a really powerful gunboat because of this main battery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out back. And I think 2 up front. So 7. The reload time is 9.5 seconds, but you can kind of treat this like a battleship. And just kind of like lob big monster shells all the way. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. I also like Sirocco as well. Sirocco has a reload booster, although technically, I think we did an analysis. One of our viewers was talking and said that there's a lot of things on Jag that are actually better. So if you don't want to buy the Sirocco as a premium, Jag is a really strong captain, or a really strong ship. An honorable mention, I will say, is for T-22. T-22 has these weird, tiny 105 millimeter guns. But it's got 7.5 kilometer torpedoes, and most specially, it has acoustics in a destroyer at tier 5. So This is a really powerful DD, and if they ever do tier 5 ranked or tier 5 brawls and you want to play destroyer, having a T22 in your port's a good idea. All right, tier 6. Looking for gunboats. The #1 destroyer at tier 6 is T61. It's not available anymore either, which is a bummer. This boat's really powerful. 428mm guns with a 4-second reload. It's got acoustics. It's got 8-kilometer torpedoes that reload in fairly short order, 68 seconds without a commander. 61 if you put my captain on there. 68 knot torps, which is pretty good, honestly, at this tier. Very strong ship. If you don't have one of these, Eagle is pretty good as a gunboat, and so is Anshan. The concealment is a problem with Eagle. It's only 6.8 after you put a commander on there. But it's got 139s, 5 of them that reload in 4.6, so it's pretty great. I'm sorry, Bo, I really am. Monahan is an interesting gunboat too. It has 2 hulls, but you can put it in gunboat mode, and then it's got a 4-second reload with 4 127s, and then another single 127 elsewhere. There are 2 different kinds of 127s. Or no, I'm sorry. It's yeah. They're both. I'm sorry. There's 4 guns altogether. Excuse me, not 5. 2 that have the housing, and then 2 that are open on the back. Monahan again has that Farragut Mahan field. It's a really strong boat, actually. I only recently discovered that I like this boat. I tried to run it in torpedo mode for a while, and that should be cooler than it is for me. I don't know. I didn't like it. Other players, I think, have a good time with the reload booster. Gallant isn't bad, and if you're looking for a Pan-American version, Urawa is the same boat, and so you can run the same commanders that you run on your Atlantico, for example. So if you want something to level your Atlantico, that's a good one. But I think T61's the top dog. Monahan's pretty good. Eagle is good. Anshan is good too. We haven't talked about Anshan, but 430 mils that reload in 5. Concealment's like 6.3, which is okay, but not amazing. But Anshan's good. So I don't know. If you can get a hold of a T61, or if you already have one, that's your best bet. There's a couple of different schools of thought here at tier 7. You know that we're big fans of Leningrad on this channel. So Leningrad's super fast. The maneuverability is 45 knots before you've even hit speed boost, and then you get an 8% speed boost. You can get this beautiful camo for community tokens, which is cool. 8-kilometer torpedoes, 6.6 kilometer detect. This is a strong boat, and she hits really hard. You can do a lot of work with this. If you want something a little on the sneakier variety, we've got Haida. Haida has an incredible DPM. The 120mm guns aren't going to pen very much. 20mm pen as configured by me, but you can do a lot of DPM, so you're really good against lightly armored targets. Only 1 torpedo launcher on Haida down the middle. Haida, I think, is also unavailable, but we are about to get a new boat that's got the same guns called Huron. Now, Huron is going to be a little less sneaky. It's going to have no smoke, and it's going to have a hull repair. Haida is going to be stronger in some ways because of that concealment, but the hull repair on Huron is going to let you recover from mistakes. And so I don't know which one's going to be the better performer in the long term. I think most players will probably say Haida is more powerful, but I think Huron's going to be good. So if you don't have a Haida and you're interested in that kind of DPM, Huron can get you there. We talked about Blizz earlier. I don't know that I include Blizz in my top gunboats for this tier. I just probably wouldn't. It's okay. I think I am going to get Huron. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about getting it. So I think it'll wind up in my port. So we'll have a chance to check it out on stream. Yeah, I think some people will look at Haida, and because it's a legend, they'll be like, well, you got to have Haida. Oh my gosh, it's not. It's like Jordan now that he's retired, right? Nobody can ever be as good as Jordan, even though there's some really great players in the NBA today, right? I think Haida is going to be stronger in that it's going to be stealthier, but the ability to recover hit points is incredibly powerful and should not be understated. Z39 is really strong. It's got 150s, but unlike the German DD split, this one has smoke. It's got good torpedoes as well. You can Citadel cruisers with this all day. I don't know if Z39 is available. Z39 not available. Oh no. That's true. They did pull it a while back, didn't they? That's too bad. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought this one up. Torigo is really good too, actually. I liked this boat. It's a tech tree boat. Very, very available. But again, you kind of gotta like the Italian thing. So Leningrad, Z39, Haida, or later Huron, and then Sims is the last one. Sims is available. She suffers from poor concealment. Gets down to, well, that's not the right captain. She gets down to 6.6, which is pretty good. Her guns are really fast firing, 3.5 seconds, just like that Z35 I just took out. And then they also rotate comically fast. Look at that, 180 degree turn time is 5.3 seconds, which is silly. When this boat came out, I just sat there in game swinging my guns back and forth because it made me laugh how fast they go. Torpedoes are 10.5s, they very slow, 51 knots. But if you don't mind being spotted every once in a while, you can do good work with Sims. Scotta hates the Sims. If he were here, he would tell us that the Sims is a trash boat. Nobody should buy it. But the DPM on the Sims is hard to ignore. But you do have to learn how to regulate your spottedness and work with that 6.6. Because if you can't do that, if you struggle with that, you're not going to get any mileage out of the main battery. Addicted One's going to play Italians next. That's cool. I hope you have a good time with them. Good job, Bo. I'm glad you're doing well. I think that's what I would say about Tier 7. Obviously, Mahan is really strong. We sometimes forget about tech tree boats, right? But 3.3 seconds on Mahan. I got Leroy Jenkins on here, so you know it's strong. But 3.3 seconds is very, very fast. 5 guns, too. So the DPM on Mahan is pretty impactful. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, 6.7 kilometer detect even after putting Leroy on here. So she's pretty spottable. She's a good boat, though. So if you're looking for one in the tech line that you can use, Mahan can easily recommend. Easy recommendation. I love Shiratsuyu, but it's not a gunboat. It's a torpedo boat. Very strong boat. We'll go to Tier 8. A lot of good destroyers at Tier 8. But if we just look at the gunboats, Kid, Le Terrible. I am starting to warm to Z35 to where I kind of want to put it in this list. I'm bad at Cossack, but Cossack is a good boat. So I think it's those 4 in gunboat country. If I'm looking at premiums, I'd add Kiev and Ben. People don't like Benson that much. I'd add Kiev and maybe Le Fantasque from the tech line. I'd add Z23 as well. Although Z23 is kind of a hybrid. She does torpedoes and guns a little bit. Yeah, I like Benson, but I think she's been power crept and people are less impressed by her tricks these days. But I think Benson is a reasonable boat. If you like Benson and you want a premium with a little bit more, look at Lo Yang. It's for the Pan Asian line, and you might not want a bunch of premiums on the Pan Asian line. Maybe you don't play the tech tree ships over there very much, but you can do great work with the guns just like you do on Benson. And then you've got a couple of torp options and very good acoustics. Hojoy says Benson is a gunboat. I agree. You can do a lot of HE spam with this, but those torpedoes, we shouldn't ignore them. They go 9.2 kilometers. They're very slow. The damage is not huge. It's 16K. It's fine. But don't ignore the torpedoes and pretend like Benson can't torp. Although her guns are very strong. Hojo is exactly right. I'm glad that maybe there's a little more Benson love out there than I thought. I'm glad you guys like Benson. That's cool. Lo Yang's really strong. Kid is very strong. Kid is basically the gun armament off of the Tier 9 Fletcher at Tier 8, but they've added a hull repair and taken away the torpedo launchers. I did a video a while ago about Kid, actually about a bunch of boats that have interesting attributes that people don't talk about. And Kid was a premium that really didn't get a lot of talking about. And then all of a sudden it kind of started getting more popular with ranked and stuff. And they did some stuff about the USS Kid Museum and people started looking at the Kid. She's really strong. And in that video, I almost forgot that it only had one torpedo launcher. If you go watch my my video about that, I think it's in the deep dive series and it's called powerful ships with powerful attributes that no one talks about or something. I almost ignore the Kid torpedo thing, so I put some text up on the screen where I'm like, and it only has one torpedo launcher, because I kind of forgot to mention it. So that's an error in that video, but it's still very strong, and the hull repair on a USDD is incredibly powerful. Great US smoke, great gun DPM, great repair. I can't recommend the kid enough. I like Kiev a lot. Skada hates Kiev. I like Kiev. Kiev's got a 5-second reload. It's got 6 guns, 5-second reload, 8-kilometer torpedoes after a buff that this ship used to have 4s, and then they added the 8s to it later. It's got a hull repair, very strong ship. If you can get used to it. It's very fast as well. The maneuverability is 44.6 knots in my build. You can do a lot of work with Kiev if you understand what Kiev is and play to its strengths. So I recommend you do that. I like Z23. I wouldn't call Z23 a gunboat exclusively, but she is a 5-gun destroyer, 3 singles out back and a double up front. She's got good torpedoes that can actually go 9.5 kilometers, 66 knots, which is fast enough. They reload. Do they reload fast? Hang on. 81 seconds is pretty quick. But I really like the kid. I'm sorry, the Z23. I think she's a really capable ship. And so, like, as a tech tree boat, I had a really good time in her. Z35, we just played 3.4 second gun reload, 6.2 kilometer concealment, 6 kilometer torpedoes, which a lot of people struggle with. They don't like that. She does have an acoustics module that's 5 kilometer ship detect, 3.5 for torpedoes. She's got a 40-second smokes though, but she's got 6 of them and they reload really fast. So they're not bad, but they're more like British smokes than German smokes. So that's Z35. I think she's kind of interesting for what it's worth. I don't know that I think she's the most powerful. Cossack should be really good for me, but she's not. I think she's really good for a lot of players though. She looks a lot like the Haida, right? She looks very familiar, very similar to Haida. And she's got a single torp launcher just like Haida. Unlike Haida, she's got 8 guns instead of 6. Look at this 5.5 kilometer concealment. Her detectability range is so good. The DPM is really great. Those 8 guns reload every 4.8 seconds. It's a very strong ship. I struggle in it. I don't know why. I'm just not playing to her strengths very well. Le Fantasque is, that's true. She is available. Le Fantasque is a tech tree ship. Very good. Pretty good ship. I like Le Fantasque. And the cool thing is there's a premium version, which is Le Terrible, which I believe is still available. And the only difference is Le Terrible has better DPM. It's the biggest difference, at least. It's very similar, but this has a 5-second reload. Oh, hang on, let me bring my commander over here. 5-second reload. Yep. 5 barrels at 139. This one is a 6-second reload, 5 barrels at 139. So you're getting a 20% DPM buff right off the bat just for having this boat. I think largely, other than that, it's very similar. So if you liked Le Fantasque, you want a French premium, and you're okay with a little bit of a DPM bump, you'll do just fine. Remember, Le Fantasque and this have a triangular shaped 3 torpedo launcher layout. So you've got 3 torpedo launchers on both of these. It's also true of Le Fantasque. 1, 2, 3 launchers. I don't know how I got this camo. Maybe I must have got this back during the event. I didn't get it out of one of those summer travels containers or whatever. We talked about Lo Yang. Lo Yang's pretty good. I like Lo Yang. I looked at Lo Yang and I've looked at Silly Wangy and they seem very similar, but Silly Wangy is just slightly worse. The acoustic capabilities are similar. I want Silly Wangy to be every bit as good, but I just don't feel like it is. Lo Yang is a Benson. So Lo Yang is a Benson that has acoustics. So it's similar to a Fletcher, but it's more like a Benson. So 2 guns out back, 2 guns up front, and then again we talk about it has one of the best acoustic modules in the game. 5.5 kilometers. I mean not, but at tier, right? 3.8 kilometer detective torpedoes, 5.5 for ships. So if we look at like Le Terrible, for example, it's 3, 5, and 5. If we look at Z23, ships known for good acoustics, it's 3, 5, and 5. Let's go back to that Lo Yang again. 3.8, so 0.3 better, and 5.5, right? So it's a half a kilometer better on ships and everything. So anyway, I like all of those. Orkan is kind of interesting. Somebody on stream was talking about this recently, on my stream. And they said, it's like a baby Smalland. I said, no, it's not. It's totally different from... Oh, it is kind of like a baby Smalland. It's got radar. It's got no smoke. It's got 6 guns. The guns reload in 4.5 seconds, so they could be a little faster. She's kind of like a baby Smiland. Maybe it was Ensign Cthulhu. I don't know. Somebody on my stream was like, it seems like a baby Smiland to me. And I was like, no, that's insane. But it kind of is in some ways. I don't think its concealment's not quite as good as Smiland's. It's at 5.9. I think Smiland's is 5.6 or a little lower. Or no, Smiland is 6 kilometers. Anyway, I think it's a good little ship. I haven't played mine a ton. I probably have 10 battles in it ish. I do have an Orkin video on the YouTube channel. If you guys want to see a battle, I have a really good battle in it. Skada has a really good battle in it. It's one of my videos that's been demonetized because I made a huge Johnny Five Alive like short circuit joke from that movie Short Circuit, and they pegged my my video and said that I couldn't monetize it. So that video it's available for free, just for the entertainment of the world, fair use. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think this is an interesting boat. Just like we talked earlier about some of those boats that don't have the lowest conceal. 5.9 is fine, but you know, you will be outspotted by some things. So you got to find a way to regulate that. And you don't have any smoke to get you out of trouble if you get into it. So when you're doing your gunboating, you need to use geography. You need to use allies smoke, stuff like that. Okay, let's go to tier 9. So Benham's great. It's not a gunboat though. Fletcher is well, I skipped Kitakaze. Let's start with Kitakaze. Kitakaze is excellent as a gunboat. It's fantastic. It's only got 1 torp launcher, but I believe it has a torpedo reload booster. Yes, it does. It's got very good smoke. It lasts 1.5 minutes. In fact, I run Yamamoto Isoroku on here. I should probably move him to something that I play more often, but Kita is great. It is the best of all of the gunboats in this line. It's better than Akazuki and it's better than Haragumo, and I can't even put my finger on why. It is good. By the way, we didn't talk about Akazuki. Akazuki is a good boat. Just like Cossack, it does not love me, but Akazuki is a good boat. It's very similar in spirit to Kita. Anyway, Kid is great. I recommend Kita to anyone. Fletcher is great as well. It's like a kid with an extra torp launcher and no heel, right? We'll talk it the other way, right? We'll flip it around. But this is a good ship. 3.5 second reload. We were talking about that because I was fighting one of these in my Z23. So good DPM across 5 guns. They're 127s too, which means they can pen a little bit. 21 millimeters of pen in my build. Her torpedoes are pretty good, 10.5 kilometers, almost 70 knots in my build. Again, I probably have some torpedo stuff on here because I like torp stuff on American destroyers. That captain's a little more torp slanted than he should be. I should probably have adrenaline rush and maybe main battery specialist, but that's a weird build. This is a bad build. Don't do this build. I don't even have last stand. What was I thinking? Fletcher's great. Benham's great. It's just not a gunboat, so I'll show it on the screen here, but it's really not what it's for. Its guns are fine. 3.3 seconds, 127s. You can gunboat things with Benham, but you have 4 torp launchers that reload every minute, so that's what you're going to do. Udaloy is a boat that everybody seems to ignore and forget about, but it is incredible. This is a really strong gunboat. And one of the reasons why it's pretty strong is its detection is lower than the tier 10 counterparts of like Kaba. This boat's actually on the Grozovoy line. So it's got a 7.2 kilometer detect, but it's got 4.2 second reload with 6 guns and 3 torpedo launchers. The torp launchers launch 5 torpedoes apiece. They go 10 kilometers and they travel at 60 knots. Oh, sorry, Bo. That's true. So actually, and I did some studying on this too. This is an interesting point Ensign brings up. I don't have it and I'm not going to buy it right now. I sold it at some point. If you switch to this, I don't know if I can see it. You go from having 15 torpedoes that reload slower to 9 torpedoes that reload faster. The damage, the DPM is almost identical between the two. But the question is, do you want to shoot more often with fewer torps, or do you want to shoot less often with more torpedoes? I've opted for the upper hull, partly because it also benefits AA, it benefits maneuverability, although it does harm your concealment a little bit. Look at this. When you're on hull A, you've got a 6.8 kilometer concealment. If I go back to hull B, jumps back up to 7.2. So there's something to be said about that. Because Udaloy is on the Grozovoy line, look at this. You get defensive AA fire, turbo AA. You get a hull repair. You get a speed boost. You get a smoke. You get a DCP. You get it all, baby, because you're on the Grozovoy line. It's awesome. Very, very, very powerful. Udaloy is awesome, and unfortunately she's tier 9, and so she doesn't get a lot of play. But I think this is a really fun boat. And I don't even think I have a good win rate or whatever. I think it's probably worse than my overall. I don't know if it's sub 50, but Udaloy is very powerful. I have a video on my YouTube channel called "Can Udaloy Replace Mogador in Clan Battles?" And I just play a random battle and I go through and I kind of talk about the difference in the ships. But it's not quite as good as a Mogador, but it has a hull repair and it has turbo. It's got a bunch of tools Mogador doesn't have. It's a fun boat. So anyway, I recommend to people, when you get to tier 9, if you're grinding for Grozovoy, enjoy this boat. Slow down. Don't free XP it. It's not one of the tier 9s you should skip. I think it's a lot of fun. Schultz is a really good gunboat as well. I like Schultz. Its guns hit really hard. They reload slow, 6.5 seconds. There are 6 of them. I recommend Schultz. I don't really have a ton to say about it. She's tanky. She does not have a hull repair. She does not have acoustics. She does have smoke. She has turbo AA, and just a really strong AP. You can pen battleships, cruisers, anything you want with Schultz. I did, yeah. As you saw, I did give one of my Linky camos to this one. I put one of these on there, and I'm glad I did. I don't play it a ton, but when I do, I like to have a cool camo on it. Z46 is a really strong boat. I think of Z46 as kind of a hybrid. I think this one works in things like ranked. It's got acoustics. It's got fast reloading torps, about 90 seconds. They go 67 knots, which is fast enough to hit stuff. The guns are good. They're 128s. They reload in 3.5, just like the ones on Z35 that we were just talking about. Same reload speed, little slower. I like Z46 a lot. As a tech tree ship, it's really strong, and it'd be nice to have a premium clone of it that also had like a hull repair or something. That'd be so strong. Trenloss says this is the best dockyard ship that ever came out, and he's right. If you didn't get it, I don't think there's a way to get these. So unfortunately, it's not available. Great ship, very strong, very recommended. Jetland can work as a gunboat as well. Very strong boat. Playing through the Lightning right now on my EU account, and it is very hard for me to play because it has 8-kilometer torpedoes. I think Lightning is reminding me of Cossack. My win rate on Lightning over on EU is better than my Cossack win rate is on NA, but I'm struggling with it. The Jetland gives you a 10-kilometer torpedo, and it also gives you a critically, it gives you a hull repair, which Lightning does not have. So this line really comes alive here. Mogador is very strong, very fast. I gave one of my linked camos to it as well, as you can see, and it has Santa Claus himself, Père Noël, as the captain. 8-kilometer torp range means you're not going to use those very often, but you will use them. They do go fast, 75 knots. The main battery is going to reload slow at 7 seconds. You might be able to make that a little bit better. I have a cheesy captain on here who's not very well configured and only has 10 points. She's not sneaky, concealment 7.5, no smoke, no heal. So you are in charge of your staying alive destiny. Don't die. 8 guns, though, is a lot of guns. Very strong. Friesland and Groningen are the same ship, basically. Good gunboats. You use it's a lot of smoke and fire, smoke and farm in these. Good acoustics. Good ships. Paolo Emilio is a meme and a joke, but it's super fun. Its guns are strong, but that's not really the best way to play it. The reload is very long at 9.4 seconds. Same gun count as Mogador, but a 3-second worse reload. That's a lot. But yeah, Groningen, same as Friesland we just looked at. I like Groningen and Friesland's camos. They're good looking boats. And that's tier 9. What are my favorites? You're asking top 3. That's really hard. I like Druid a lot too. I like Cobb. I like Kleber. So we got Rigolo here. We talked about Rigolo briefly. Sap pens everything. The HE pens 23. The Sap pens 38. Sherman's good. I don't think it's one of my top 3s. Sherman is like an American Friesland, kind of, but with Sap. She's good, but I don't think she's one of my top 3. Gearing's good. We know all about gearing. That's been in the game forever. Hayate, 3.5 second reload on this thing as well. She's okay. She's kind of a hybrid. I like Hayate, but I don't think she's the strongest ship in the world. I think if you lean in on her strengths, you smoke and farm, you'll do well. You can put a torpedo reload booster on her instead. And yeah, I sprang for the camo. Before I even played the ship, I bought this camo because it's just so pretty. And I do like Hayate. I think I've got 40 or 50 matches in her. She's got a good win rate for me, and she does really good. Yeah, she's like if a Yugamo had Kita's guns, you know, but only 6 of them, right? Instead of 10 or whatever. She's cool. So Hayate is 2 million free XP. Remember, that's cheaper than most, if not all, of the Research Bureau ships. You can get Paolo Emilio is the cheapest Research Bureau ship, and you can get it for about 1.4 something million Haragumo XP. And then you've got to spend 25 or 30 million credits as well. Whereas Hayate is 2 million XP and 1 credit. So if you want to get Hayate, she's kind of arguably cheaper because XP is easier to get than credits. Technically, Hayate is cheaper than the cheapest Research Bureau boat, even if you do it in the most efficient way possible. Bear that in mind. People think it's expensive, and they're not right. Let's see. Gearing, we kind of talked about. Delny's actually not bad. She's pretty good. She's not amazing, but she's okay. She's pretty fast, which is nice. The maneuverability is 45.7 knots. Let me put a captain on here. Does it go up? No. I don't think there's a way to make it go faster. I think that's a signals thing. 6-gun destroyer, though, unfortunately. They got rid of Kaba, which was an 8-gun destroyer, and they put in this one, which is a 6-gun destroyer. DPM on Delny is worse than Kaba. It's worse than Grozovoy. And so that makes me want to choose Groz over Delny. Grozovoy has more tools, better DPM, especially if you use the legendary module, and it has smoke. So, like, why wouldn't you take Grozovoy? It's not quite as fast. I think it's close, but not quite as fast. Delny does fit the slot she's designed for, Bo. I think you're exactly right. It feels more like the rest of that line, but she's not as strong as Kaba. Now, she is better than Kaba at 2 very critical things. Number 1, she has a great firing range of 15.1, I think, kilometer, 15.8 in my build, and she has a really good rudder shift compared to Kaba's. The rudder shift is only 4 seconds as I've built it. I think it's 5 seconds base. So if you're able to stay at range, you can deal with that reduced DPM because you've got those 2 things. Remember, Kaba's range is only 14.8 if you get the legendary module and run it. So if you don't do that, it's got a 13.5 range, and that's really kind of harder to be successful with. Anyway, Delny's okay. Grozovoy is actually really good. She's kind of a ship of all trades. We talked earlier about Udaloy, the tier 9, and just like Udaloy, she's got all the toys, right? 2 charges of everything, and then 4 of turbo AA. I've had battles where I've shot down like 50 airplanes with Grozovoy. She just got a 2-kilometer range buff on her torpedoes, so they went from 10s to being 12s. With the legendary mod, her reload comes down to 3.4 seconds, but that screws up your torpedo reload, I believe. Makes that really long. Let me put my commander on here, and she's got a 14.8 kilometer gun range. She got this cool camo too, and you can also swap out and run the green version of this as well. Concealment 6 kilometers for this thing. I think this is a great gunboat. You can gun and farm. The maneuverability is reasonable. It's not quite as fast as the fast boys, which are about 45, 46. This one's 41.5. Yeah, Grozovoy is pretty good. Holland is well known for her AA. Grozovoy is probably in the next slot or maybe the one after that. It's really got pretty strong AA. I don't know why I decided to run through every single boat. You asked me a question about 3 ships, and I decided to tell you about 40. So hopefully this is entertaining for anybody. Kaba I love, but I run Legendary Module on Kaba. It's hard to run Kaba without it. I have done it. I have Kaba on my EU account, where I do not have a Legendary Module. In fact, Kaba is the only tier 10 I have on EU. If you run legendary module, your guns go out to 14.8, just like Grozovoy. Reload time's 3.9 seconds as I've built her. And she's got 8 guns, so it's 8 guns at 3.9. That's pretty good DPM, and the damage is good because they're 139s. It's 1900 base with a 9% fire chance. I have a lot of videos about Kaba on my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel and you search for Kaba, you'll come up with probably like 3 or 4 videos. So if you're interested in Kaba content, it's available, and not just from me. I recommend checking other people as well. Elbing is really good. I got Elbing and I was like, wow, I really like this boat, and then I never play it. It's actually a problem because I like this boat. I think it's very strong. She's got a big 50 millimeter armor plate. Check this out. Or 25 millimeter armor plate. Kaba has a 50 millimeter armor plate. So for both of these ships, if you're in a DD, you should probably switch to AP and try to get their broadside. But Elbing has 25. A lot of your DDs are going to pen 21 to 23 millimeters of armor with HE. So you gotta do that. I bet you I have less than 5 battles in this boat. She's got that same great AP that we saw on Schultz, or similar anyway, in Spirit. 6.2 second reload for 6 guns. She does a good job. 16 kilometer firing range in my build. I think you can probably save some points and do that a little bit lower if you want. Very slow 50 knot torpedoes, but they reload pretty frequently, 90 seconds. So you just want to be putting those out all the time and catch some stuff. Love my Elbing. Nobody expects the torps. Exactly. 38 knots is reasonable. She's not fast, but she's okay. And 6.5 for concealment. So she's not bad. I think Elbing's great. And maybe I should play her more. Daring is a good gunboat. Very good DPM on Daring. 2.5 second reload time, 6 guns. Max damage is 1700, but that's pretty good. Druid's a lot of fun. No torps. Good acoustic. 6.6 kilometer concealment or detectability range. Fast firing AP. People call it the mini tar. I think that 1.9 second reload for only 4 guns though. Kleber is very strong. I like Kleber a lot. I should get its permanent camo. This is a strong effing boat. And I recommend it to people. Now the reload is really long. It's 6.2 seconds. It's kind of slow. But you got 8 guns, 139s with a 2000 max damage on an 11% fire chance. My average damage in this boat is like in the 80s, which for me is really high. She's kind of a farmer. Although I'm kind of oscillating a little bit, so we may see some worse numbers coming out. I like Kleber better than Marceau, but Marceau's good too. Marceau's the 3.5 second reload version of Kleber. Her shell velocity is 808 meters per second. Kleber's is 840, so they're a little loftier, but they feel a lot loftier. I don't know why that is. I would never play the French DDs. Well, you should think about it. They're very good. Unless you just don't like gunboats, in which case don't do it. Because that's what they are. They're gunboats. Ragnar, of course, everyone's terrified of Ragnar. Ragnar's a good gunboat. This captain is not very well optimized for the ship. It's okay. But yeah, she's okay maneuverability-wise. 7.5 kilometer range by sea, and also a 7.5 kilometer radar. 152 millimeter guns on this thing with a 3 second reload, as built by me. This recently got a 0.2 second nerf, which you feel. It's different than it used to be. It feels worse, but it's still very strong. And I think the nerf was probably warranted, as much as I don't want it to have it. And then finally, Smalland. Most people build this out as a gunboat. I kind of build mine as a little bit of a hybrid, optimizing, removing small fractions of 1.5% through captain build stuff is not very effective in my book, especially with the tick bug that I don't know if they'll ever be able to fix fully. I don't know if anybody's done a test to see if that's gotten better in recent builds. I'm curious. But yeah, I would kind of build a hybrid build for this. A little bit of guns, or mostly guns with a little bit of torpedoes. To try to more evenly optimize to get a bigger upgrade on the torpedo reload times or speed or whatever. Well, that was a big thing. I had a user, the Addicted One, say, hey, what's your top 3 list of gunboats in the game? And then we looked at every gunboat destroyer and even some kind of gunboat adjacent destroyers from tier 5 all the way up through tier 10. If I'm choosing my top 3, let's say I'm choosing my top 3 tier 10s, I'm gonna make 2 choices that are just because I love these ships. I've played them for years. I've got 400, maybe 450 battles between the 2 of them, and that is Grozovoi and Khabarovsk. Are those the most powerful tier 10 gunboat destroyers? No, but they're boats that I really like, I'm very comfortable with, and I think are really fun to play. I'm throwing Kleber in as my 3rd pick. I love the guns on Kleber. I love the speed on Kleber. It does Kaba things like Kaba used to before they nerfed it. Now that's not to say that Smolensk and Ragnar don't deserve to be on that list. They absolutely do. And I definitely think those are very powerful boats. I think Marceau is very strong, obviously. But if I'm picking my 3 favorites, Kaba, Grozovoi, Kleber, final answer, maybe I'll change it next week, but final for now. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below what you like, what you don't like, if I made any mistakes, or if I missed it, did I skip a boat entirely? Of course, YouTube loves likes, so if you liked this video, please click the like button. If you really liked it, please tell a friend about it. Maybe post it in your clan Discord, share it with your buddies and friends who play World of Warships with you. Until we see you next time, of course, you can come catch us live at twitch.tv/ClydePlaysLive. I cannot wait to get my next couple of videos out to you guys, so stay tuned, stay subscribed, and we will see you in the next video and the next battle, Captains. Until then, take care of each other. Have a great time. Take it easy.